What's up, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of Chat 10 Sports, where we're talking all things Tennessee sports and everything in between. Feel free to chat live with us right now, interact with us, or if you're listening after, connect with us through social media by finding us at Chat 10 Sports anywhere that you are on social. Also, if you're new to us, go to chat10.com and see everything we've got going on. But let's lock it in for a brand new show. Look at this madness right now. We've got Austin B, Rainey, and our guy Chase Green here tonight. Welcome in, everybody, in case you're listening to us. We got people rolling in the chat. But obviously, this is a mix of the mayhem between Chat 10 Sports and Channel coming at you straight up tonight. Guys, we have a lot to discuss, and we're going to jump directly off the top notch. First and foremost, Austin, Rainey, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Been better.
Just good.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm ready. I'm ready to jump into this, man. That's
just get into this.
I want to just dive right in.
So let's talk about it, because Chase Green, how are you, sir? I'll make sure to acknowledge you down there, brother.
I'm good, man. A little upset about this Heisman stuff, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, obviously today, even the announcement officially, but from the last time that we spoke as far as Clemson and that matchup in the Orange Bowl, but the big news dropping today is Hendon Hooker did not even get the invitation to New York, which, seems like a illogical slap in the face to Tennessee again, on top of even the slightest, Bama being in front of Tennessee. I know there's a lot of controversy there, but I just want to throw chum in the water. Obviously, if you're watching with us, feel free to chat. If you're watching through Twitter, jump over to YouTube so we can see your comments and we can interact there. Would appreciate that. And be sure to share the show. But Austin, I'm going to ask you straight up, man. Just give it to me straight. How do you feel, and what was your initial reaction as far as seeing the announcement?
Well, yeah, I was angry. Still angry. But I really thought he'd get the invite. I just did not think they'd really do this, because I just think they would obviously know the outrage that would ensue. And he was a clear-cut, picture-perfect candidate for it. I don't get it at all, but it kind of solidifies Hendon Hooker's career as a Tennessee legend, because one check box you have to check is getting screwed over by the Heisman Committee.
It's true.
And being a Tennessee legend.
Chase, give me your thoughts, man. I'm gonna save Rainey for the last here so we can get it straight. But what was your initial thought as well?
If you're gonna kick him out, give the other 4 spot to Crum, give the other spot to Bryce Young for all I care. But as Craig mentioned, dude, Georgia run it, you're just gonna basically hand it off and be a good game manager and Bennett. I don't know, man. It just doesn't make any sense to me why he got it. And there's a weird shot that he could win it too, because with USC losing like they did, Caleb played pretty good, but I don't know. It's going to be weird, man. I can't believe they gave it to Stetson of all people.
It is weird. And something else that was weird I saw, floating around before this last weekend was a stat showing the Biletnikoff Award finalists. And obviously, I forget who it was, maybe Bleacher Report, because I think they're just straight up trash, but it didn't even have Jalen Hyde on there, which blew my mind. And now to see Hendon Hooker, it felt like another slap in the face. But Rainey, what are your thoughts? And give it to me straight, because it's easy to have the initial reaction, but what do you think this says about, the voting process and everything?
Listen, honestly, the Heisman Trophy is complete trash, because it is turned into complete trash. And I'm not saying that just because of Hendon Hooker, but I'm saying that as an overall thing, because every year you see this guy, it's like you feel like they have to put him in there for no reason, because we're running out of people, so you're in. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like that award. But here's my greatest bone to pick with this is, how do you win SEC Offensive Player of the Year? Not a position player, the best offensive player in the entire conference.
Yeah.
Not the best quarterback, not the best running back, not the best wide receiver, the best overall offensive player in the entire conference. And someone that does not win that gets invited instead of you. Mm-hmm. Explain how that makes any sense. Make it make sense. I feel like Tennessee fans have been saying, make it make sense all year long. And real quick, before we move on, I just want to throw some stats out there real quick. Stetson Bennett, I tweeted this out a little while ago. Stetson Bennett has 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions with an 86.3 QBR rating. That is tied for 42nd in the country. Hendon Hooker has 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 89.4 QBR, tied for 14th in the country. And
Now-
you get an invite.
Now,
You don't get an invite.
imagine Stetson Bennett's stats if he actually had to play Georgia.
Well,
that's a
and that's-
big disadvantage.
that's
That
another
he didn't
thing.
have to go against Georgia's defense, the
Yeah.
hardest defense in the entire country. He never had to play against them.
And here's
But we're not. It doesn't matter. It's just because they're undefeated. That's
and
all it
here-
is.
here's a question I want to ask Chase and Trey. Honest question. If Hendon Hooker was on any other team besides Tennessee, he's getting an invite. With that schedule, with those stats, that schedule, he's getting an invite.
See,
People hate Tennessee. I'm over it. They hate us.
my initial thought in that thinking that the Vols are somehow getting snubbed. We also have to realize that the Vols are still coming out of this McDonald's bag of cash to recruit. So there's still some frowning on them. I know it's not a right now thing, but it's still one of those things that committees or voters could be looking at to say they don't deserve to be in this conversation at this point in their rebuild or whatever the case is. Because obviously Heupel coming in year 2 is I mean, obviously I'm going to get a tattoo on my ass of this logo I've created, but it's one of those things. Nobody expected it, but it doesn't make sense when even statistically, which I'm that guy to say stat lines don't tell the full story, because I can play the other side of the coin with this, saying there were games, including Georgia and South Carolina, where Hendon did not look like a Heisman candidate. And it was one of those things. I mean, it's a hard truth, but it's also the fact of this. Stetson Bennett is surrounded by incredible talent. He has Lad McConkey.
Yeah.
Love the dude. But out of nowhere, wasn't even barely recruited, and they got him, and all of a sudden he's able to light it up. But that's my take, where I get the guys who, and this is what I also understand. There's 4 people who are still in the race as far as bowls. Hendon is not going to win it given the injury. So why even take up a spot for him to go to New York? I think it's disrespectful for sure, but I just don't see it from a sense of like they have something. Why would they have something against Tennessee?
He's played 2 less games than Stetson and still has better stats.
It's outright.
What is
and here's the
Tennessee
thing, here's
without
my-
Hendon Hooker? What's Tennessee
Yeah.
without Hendon Hooker? What are they?
8-4.
Exactly.
Give him Stetson Bennett. We're going 6-6. I mean, you want to put this offense on that guy's back? I mean, Hooker makes this team work.
Gavin said it down here. He's like, what did he say? It was where's he at? Hooker wouldn't be without Heupel, but I mean, it's the perfect marriage. You can say that about a lot of people.
That's not an indictment against the
we-
quarterback.
Yeah,
We saw every game Heupel didn't have Hooker. I mean, truth be
yeah.
told,
But
and
I could say that, like, if Stetson didn't have this great defense,
wasn't amazing.
what would he be?
Exactly.
Really, what would Stetson be without 2 of the greatest defenses we've ever seen in college
That is
football
a
in the last 2 years?
that's a solid point, Chase, because if Hendon Hooker had the defense that Stetson Bennett has, and what also just said, if Stetson Bennett is playing for Tennessee, it's nowhere near as good. I'm sorry. And if Hooker is playing for Georgia, the dude is being talked about nonstop all over the place. I mean, his face is everywhere. And it's you can take Stetson Bennett away from Georgia and they'll still win. You take Hendon away from Tennessee, they're not winning half as much.
No, God no.
They're not.
Yeah.
I do think this is just, I mean, and this is obviously our home team, our home state, but I just don't understand, because you've got national conversation happening about how Hooker doesn't even, we all know he probably would not win it given the injury, but why not at least, I don't know. I think Caleb Williams, and I don't want to derail the conversation about Hendon, but Caleb Williams kind of showed his ass this week in a couple different ways, and he quickly deleted a tweet where Robert Griffin III gave a good compliment to, what's his name, Duggan from TCU.
Mm-hmm.
And Williams retweeted it saying LOL, and it's like, hey, both of these guys can be great. It's not to snub, one dude, but all that to say, I mean, Hendon Hooker as a player, as a person, as a student athlete, I think it's a damn shame he got hurt, because I wonder what he could have continued to do. And even now, and even pushing into playoffs, what would that have been if Hendon was still going? Because a lot of people think it was, a thing against the Vols that he was not playing.
I would have been intrigued because what if he would have put up some monster game against Vandy? Caleb loses. There's a shot there. Like it would have been a closer thing. But honestly, I really do feel like Kroom from Michigan was the one that kind of got screwed. Like, McCarthy had his day. Like, I mean, I guess got screwed out of not going because, you lost Tucker 2 games ago. You lost him in the Ohio State game. And yeah, McCarthy had the greatest day of his life, but he hadn't thrown over a 55-yard pass until that week. So it's like, he's not the one bringing that Michigan team home. But shout out to the NFL.com go. All right, sweet.
Here's my thing. Like, how many of these guys like kind of put their team on their back and won a game? Because that's the way he won a big game. That's what he did against Alabama. That was the biggest Heisman moment anyone's had all season. He fought tooth and nail and just played his ass off and beat Alabama for the first time in 15 years and gave us probably the best moment of the entire season for college football. I mean, when I look back, like Johnny Manziel, he had that moment against Alabama, and that's kind of what won the Heisman. Am I wrong? I mean, Alabama isn't the same monster that they were back then.
But they're the 5th ranked team, though, Austin.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. They're number 5. No matter if you beat them. No. It doesn't matter if you beat them. They beat no one else. They're better than you. Just take that for verbatim. Yeah.
And you said, Austin, the Heisman moment of that drive, and it was. What was it? 29 seconds left in the game.
It was 19 seconds.
19 seconds. Sorry, I knew there was 9 in there somewhere, but
2 passes.
Yes, and there's that moment. If you go back and rewatch the game, and the announcer goes, "He can't take a sack here," and then he kind of shoulder shrugs his shoulder and steps up in the pocket and just launches one to Brew McCoy. Yeah. That's a Heisman type move right there that you can't teach a lot of people.
I want to give some comments here just real quick. As Craig saying, if Duggan or Williams doesn't win it, it's a sham. I do think of all the guys going right now, Duggan is the dude. Because, I mean, to take TCU, the comebacks, they're going to try and make that thing. And I don't know if it's something that people are just tired of the SEC or what. Because Georgia, I don't know. They're obviously the favorite. But I think I don't see how Stetson should even be in that conversation. Just for the sake of, I mean, statistically, like we said, Hendon Hooker. And I also want to throw Gavin's comment up here, too, saying, Austin, you can't say Hooker won the Bama game. Jalen was there as well. Shouldn't be.
Who was throwing to him?
Who was throwing to him?
Be an indictment against
Who's throwing it to him?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so, I mean.
Tom Brady gets a lot of credit for stuff Randy Moss did back in the day. And,
right.
I mean.
Yeah, you got to have a quarterback throw to him. Your quarterback can make a wide receiver look really good.
Trust me, a quarterback needs a wide receiver just as much as a wide receiver needs a quarterback.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Sorry to cut you off, Chase. Here's another thing. What was Jalen Hyatt before Hendon Hooker got there?
Facts.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Be honest, like
there you go.
That's the biggest switch. Is those two?
I've seen Hyatt drop more passes than I've seen Hooker overthrow balls. Just saying that.
Yeah. I'm really I'm sure you guys think about. We'll get to this here in a second because I do think that being behind Alabama was a gift in itself. If you are not going to make the playoffs, because you get the better matchup, and I love the Friday night at 8 p.m. It's going to be awesome. But also to go back to the Duggan and Williams comment, this doesn't feel like there's a clear-cut winner this year. Like there doesn't feel. I mean, Duggan had his chance. I feel like on Saturday, like the outcome. I do feel like Duggan had to probably go kind of ape shit, to be honest. Like he probably would have had to go like 4 or 5 touchdowns, no picks. They win by 14. Williams, I know he had some comments, but I mean, he is Superman for that team. If you want to talk about Hendon kind of having to carry a defense in a lot of ways, Williams does it a lot. If there's a worse unit in the top 15 than the USC defense, good luck finding it.
And their offensive line is trash too.
He does a lot, man.
Their offensive line is trash.
I like to submit the Tennessee secondary.
Yes, yeah.
I like.
And to Chase to go along, Craig to go along with your Duggan comment. I hadn't watched Duggan a whole lot this season, but when he had that one drive where he carried them down the field, and it was like watching Tim Tebow. I mean, that was a Heisman drive, and I know they didn't win the game. But that right there, when that man fell into the end zone and couldn't even breathe because he was so tired, like that, I literally sat in my chair and was like, "Holy crap! What a freaking drive by that guy!" Because he did it all by himself, and he was so battered and so bloody. He had the, I don't know if you saw his elbow, but he had pellets stuck in his elbow because he's taken so many hits in that game. And that
some of those beats from Wakanda where they can heal your arms just so
Yes,
you can
yes,
be back on the next drive, you know. It's just
yeah.
I think he should be. I agree with, like I said earlier, Dugan and Williams are the guys. And I do want to acknowledge this other comment from Craig. Without Williams, USC is awful. He is a prick, but he's the most valuable player on that team.
That's a fact.
100%. I don't know if you guys are ready to get into the conversation as far as Clemson, but I'm interested because obviously it's what we're all waiting for. It's something to kind of give us the preview of next year's team. Do we want to go there now? Or we want to wait a little bit? Are there any other topics as far as Hendon or Heisman conversation?
I mean, yeah. The only thing is, it's just I just saw Josh Page tweet. Hooker not being invited to the Heisman goes to show you the process. Like, it goes to show you what's wrong with this process.
It's
Craig mentioned earlier about the Maxwell Award. That kind of feels like the right award.
They don't watch college football. They don't watch college football.
Boom. I was just about to say that. It boils down to the fact that these people don't watch these games.
No.
And they're taking the best players off the best teams, basically. That's what they're doing. They're doing.
I mean, historically, that's the sauce. That's the equation, right? I mean, they're having the top guys because it seems like the BCS would run off numbers as well, but it's reading the box scores. It seems like to me, it just doesn't make sense. And it's saying, well, they're great, and he's the quarterback.
Well, if you're reading the box score, then Hendon Hooker's box score, his stats are pretty damn good compared to these people.
The thing that always gets me at Hooker is 2 interceptions on the entire season. And like that stat stands out to me about more than anything. And QBR number 2 in the entire country. And you think of what he's working with. I mean, this program was such down the dumps. And I know you said like the McDonald's back thing. Well, yeah, Caleb Williams showed his ass. And what was the other thing? I mean, Jameis Winston stood up on a cafeteria table, shouted, not so great, and then stole crab legs. What else? Oh, and Johnny Manziel. Everything Johnny Manziel.
So, everything Johnny Manziel.
Everything Johnny Manziel. That's all you can say. So you can't tell me like what you do in your personal life matters that much. If a guy who wrote a scripture book and just as a first class citizen who has gone through like so much, had to transfer, just was a backup here at first and never got through a full season because of an injury. But I mean, the guy's a freaking warrior. Came here when no one else wanted it.
At this point, with this last week when that everything went down with college football, I mean, who is the favorite in your mind? And we asked the question, Chase. I think Randy, you were with us right now. It's outright Georgia. Is that everyone's opinion? I mean, barring some upset, it's basically theirs to take home.
Unless Ohio State just has an unreal game. They haven't been impressive all season. I said it on y'all's podcast. I think it was last podcast. Ryan Day, I don't think he's good a coach. I don't think he's a good coach. I do not. I don't.
2 losses to Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I need some meat to the bones on that one because I get he's at a powerhouse school that probably was handed to him on a silver platter with great recruiting classes, but I could see it from that angle. But what makes you say that Day's not a great coach or a good coach?
Okay, since he's taken over, you watch Ohio State. You've watched them. They don't have that same it factor. I'm sorry. They don't. They're not as scary as they used to be. Like, they're beatable. Like they had players like Ezekiel Elliott and all of those guys. They have the talent, but they don't have that, just the it factor that they used to have. They don't have that. People aren't as scared of them as they used to be. They're not.
So what would they be in the SEC? Do you think if they were?
It's tough. I never see him play anybody, so except for Michigan, so it's hard to say.
Yeah,
it's the eye test. It's the eye test. You look at them, you're like, they're good. I mean, they're above most teams in the country, but they're not the same Ohio State as they usually were. They're just not. You can
Kinda
look at
like-
them and watch it.
It's kind of like Gonzaga in basketball. They play nobody, so you have a hard time figuring out how good they actually are. And maybe they had a car game in the preseason, but it's early in the season. What do you know from that? And then they get to finally their one real game a year, and they get their ass whooped.
See,
And
I'm-
I mean, Penn State's okay. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not gonna say Ryan Day's a bad coach. He's done a
Yeah.
fine job, great job recruiting. Brian Hartline's a crazy good recruiter.
Real quick.
I mean,
hey,
your one big game, you got your ass whooped though. So.
put Craig's comment back up on the screen. Craig's comment said he lost 5 games in 4 years. He can come be a bad coach in my hypothetical school. Is your hypothetical school and playing a shitty ass conference? Because that's what he plays in.
Well,
It doesn't look. He doesn't look. They don't look as good as they used to. I'm sorry. And if you
I
say
think
they're
the
as
big
dominant as they
factor
used
is
to be,
that
they're
Ohio
not.
State will always have better players than whoever the hell they're playing in that conference.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not
I
even
just think-
close in most of those games.
But even
It's not even
Georgia,
close.
I think Georgia's going to beat the brakes off of them, and that's
Mhm.
where I feel like I don't know. Maybe it was just the last 4 weeks of the college football season where it's just like the mayhem that just happened, all these upsets, and even Georgia. I mean, Georgia squeezed out some wins that were not number one team dominant. These 60, 70 point deficit or not deficits, but putting up that amount of points. But I don't know. I think I'm not interested with the blowouts as far as the playoffs right now. If I care about one game college football, and it's against Clemson, and that's it. Outside of that stuff, maybe make some money. I don't know if you guys are looking at that. That's just
I
about
mean,
it.
I'm still curious to watch the Final Four. I mean, I really am.
Oh
But
yeah,
I mean,
and I'll say this:
100%.
all my
T-
heart,
Go ahead.
I don't want Georgia to win national title. So just let it be out there. I'm rooting against them as hard as I can. I just do not like them.
I don't know. Pull up Gavin's comment. It says Georgia top to bottom, not counting receivers, is way more talented than Ohio State. I don't know, big dog. I mean, you guys got some definite. You can't just go say take out the wide receivers.
from top to bottom, Georgia's way better.
I mean,
Yeah, but
what's
it's
that
not.
guy's
It's
name,
not just these
JT?
clear cut. I mean, as far as like talent goes, NFL talent, they're going to be pretty dang close. There's some guys on Ohio State that'll definitely be there, but also another one. If you put TCU's players in Oklahoma or Texas uniforms, they're going to get a lot more clout. Like
Notoriety.
their skill positions outside Ohio State are probably the best in the Final Four. Like
That
their
Johnson- That Johnston kid
Barber.
is incredible.
yeah, those guys and DeAndre, those guys are awesome. Duggan's really good player. Like is he gonna be even Andy Dalton NFL? No, but by God, he is gonna be. Those guys can play. Those guys don't get enough credit because it says TCU on their uniform. I think they'll beat Michigan. I really do. I think Michigan's kind of become this second best team. And now they lost their starting running back. And yes, McCarthy won without him for one game. Like they have played an awful schedule.
Okay,
They
so
got their one guy.
you say that TCU will beat Michigan, and Michigan slaughtered Ohio State. So what does that say about Ohio State? It's
I don't
going
think
to get
they're very good.
slaughtered by Georgia.
I think
That's
they have
weird.
a
It's
bunch
weird.
of NFL talent, but I don't think they're a very good team.
That's
I watched
coaching.
that Michigan Ohio State game. It was such a weird game because it'd be like it was really tight. Then all of a sudden, Michigan hit like an 80-yard pass, and it didn't feel like they were kicking their ass. It just felt like they were hitting big shots.
For the first time all year. Like I told you guys earlier, McCarthy's longest throw until this game was 54 yards. And then he throws 3 of them. It's like, okay, so you had your one great game. Like it was South Carolina. Like, are you telling me it's the same thing? It's like South Carolina had their one great game. They figured out Tennessee, and props to them, and props to Michigan. You got your big win. I just don't think Michigan's that good. I'm not trusting JJ McCarthy, who just scored 17 points against Illinois the week before. So
See, I listened to all this stuff, and I think the way maybe it's the committee and how they put Bam up there, and everyone's like, this doesn't make sense. And even now with Hendon Hooker's news tonight, I'm not even going to New York. It's like this. It's just I lose interest outside of the fun of the New Year's playoff days. It's a tradition because I feel like all these games are going to be absolute just shellackings of unless I think TCU is going to be able to put points unless they just have a bad defensive game. But I mean, At the same time, I feel like you see all four of these teams be meh at times, and just don't know who's going to show up.
I feel a little different about Ohio State. I think they're going to give Georgia a little bit of help because the last time we saw Ohio State, they were getting their ass whooped by Michigan, and I feel like that's perfect. You know, just have to your worst moment of your entire sports career for most of these guys was their last game they played. So they got to ultimately redeem themselves the following week, and just so happens they got to play the best defense they'll ever see. But,
Austin despises Georgia.
I don't.
So
like
he's
it.
trying to create this any scenario in his head. It's like, well, it's good. Here it comes.
And I hate Ohio State too, but I gotta believe, man, and I do believe that actually. I've always thought I wanted to see Ohio State play them because that's the one team I thought that could actually match them for talent. It's not matching, but it's close. It's close.
It's close.
Yeah, it's not. It's not outrageous like it is every other team they play.
Is this the first year where the committee's actually kind of gotten it right?
Yeah,
because usually they stick at just like a Washington or one of those
Michigan State
garbage Pac-12 teams or Big Ten teams that don't deserve to be in there, and they just throw them in there because they need to.
So was that Alabama for this year? I mean,
No.
the fact that they got it right in the sense that they were not put in the playoff.
Yes, they were trying to put them in. They were thinking of scenarios. Don't even think they weren't. They were trying to get them in as hard as they could.
Even having Saban on TV,
crying
like
I think that hurt him.
Hurt his legacy a tiny bit. Nah,
you think it hurt him?
I think that hurt his argument because they were like, "Wow, that's your argument. That's what you're gonna go with."
I was looking down at
your
my
argument again. We're Alabama.
I was looking down at my phone, Chase, and I wasn't even watching TV. But he came up on the screen, and I had to stop watching my phone. I'm like, is he crying?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's crying.
Going
He's pleading like someone's got him in a hostage situation. He's like, please let me go.
I was waiting for that, that sad dog music to start playing. It just show like pictures of Bryce Young and pictures of Will Anderson, who didn't even. Will Anderson, man, that guy, he's one of those guys that picks when he wants to show up. I feel like.
Yeah.
Will Anderson.
Yeah, like he'd be amazing. I don't think he had one sack when he played us. Yeah, I think he had 3 tackles and 0 sacks.
It was a really bad day for him.
Yeah,
that kicked him out of the hope. Because he was at times you're like, maybe he'll be the guy that's on the defensive side for the Heisman.
Yeah. Remember he had that interview early in the year where he's like, it offends me when another team even walks on the field, and then later it's like we just had a little bit of anxiety, anxiety in that tunnel. We could feel it. It was weird. We didn't like it. That's not us.
Yeah.
Get out of here. What happened to it offending you that anyone will walk on the field with you, buddy? Now you're pissing your leg down your leg in Neyland Stadium.
Well, I want to talk about Clemson because obviously I think a lot of people are looking forward to beating the crap out of Dabo. I think obviously today, I'm not even going to try to say his name, but their quarterback.
DJ. We'll just call him DJ.
Entered the transfer portal. Dude, the transfer portal, if you're not there, it's the hottest club in college football. Right
It's hot right now, baby.
Get in. If you know a guy, let us know so we can get in because everyone's going. But Clemson, I mean, obviously they I don't know. It's weird when these teams kind of skate into those 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th spots, and it's like, oh, they could get in, but damn well they shouldn't be in. Mm-hmm. And now this is the first time since the birth of the college football playoff that Bama or Clemson's not in. And here we are having our opportunity to see how the Vols are going to line up against them with Joe Milton at the helm. My initial thoughts, I cannot wait to see what happens. I think today and this news about Hendon is going to fire up a lot of players to just kick the absolute shit out of Clemson.
I have not thought about that.
You got to think the disrespect and what happens with other players that should be up for other awards. Biletnikoff, Hyatt should win the Biletnikoff. Is that an outright agreement, or did anybody want to say?
Yes, he should definitely win it. Absolutely. And I'm a little scared. The same people voting on the Heisman are going to vote on that, and clearly they.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did no one watch that Alabama game?
I'm not going to lie to you guys.
More touchdowns than anyone against Nick Saban defense.
Seeing Klubnik because I really do think if they would have started Cade most of the season, I actually think Clemson's in the playoffs.
I want to get to that.
He's that good. He's had shining moments. It was just Dabo being stubborn old Dabo. Like DJ, he's got this like maybe ceiling, but Cade can freaking sling it. Now, we've all talked about before, I love my Tar Heels. But by God, us four could go score 25 on them. No doubt in my mind. We could go out there. We could run an option. We could throw a couple passes. They couldn't cover us. But I really think Cade was that good, and he was just an idiot, and he missed his opportunity. So this game's going to be tough.
When he came in, I was watching that game. I was like, I just looked to the heavens. I said, why now?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't DJ just stay for one more game? Kid scares the shit out of me.
It's just funny. It's so crazy that would never happen in the SEC. I heard someone make this argument the other day. That would never happen in the SEC, that you could just have this guy on the bench the whole season, because you're going to lose like 3 or 4 games or 5 games if you do that, if you keep starting this Huey Anglais guy. But in the ACC, you can just skim on by with starting a well below average quarterback and just say, oh, I believe in him. And well, Dabo's now not in the playoff. Now he has to. But yeah, we're going to finally we're the ones who he's going to have to finally test out. I will say it's a little different though when you are the starter, when you truly are the starter. We found that out with JG, that whenever, you make him feel comfortable, it was all out the window.
Yeah.
I was thinking about just yesterday about how bad it was whenever I think there was a photo of Pruitt with his arm around JG on the sideline, and I was like, God, we had it so good this season, man, just to be able to see what we saw.
Yeah. You look back at those pictures, Trey, and you're just like, holy crap.
Awful.
Like we knew it was bad when we were witnessing it, but you go back and look at it, and you're like, golly, that was bad.
It was.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Remember those people that were talking about when he was going to Washington State? They'd be like, watch out, he's going to tear it up there.
Yeah.
He's throwing freaking pick sixes in their scrimmage game.
His first pass was a pick 6.
Yeah.
Wasn't he on the bench the last 10 weeks? I mean,
yeah, he was. He's terrible.
I'm not rooting against him. It's just not good. And I that's my whole argument the whole time. And every quarterback, I think the best quarterback we ever had here, I guess evidence shows, is JT Shrout, which is just sad.
And now he cooked it up in NFL preseason. That was my thing. It's like when he comes in garbage time, like JG looks pretty good for the Cardinals.
He'll pick and choose when he'll have these moments, but anytime you actually start to feel any comfort with him, it's all out the window. I'll never forget that second half against Georgia and then the first half against Kentucky. Yeah, it's just never believe in him. Never believe in him.
With him, everything goes fine until something goes wrong. And then when something goes wrong, everything goes wrong. Way down. So
I want to ask you guys, as far as Clemson, Tennessee, I mean, how do you see the game going? Because I know right now ESPN's got the 57.9% in favor for the Vols. I don't know if they've set a line or anything yet. No,
minus 3.5, I think, in favor of Clemson.
Tennessee. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got nothing. It could go either way.
Really? I have no idea what to even think about this game. I really have no opinion really of what I'm feeling. So
I
think it's going to be the best game. I think it's going to be the best game of the weekend, honestly. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. And can you throw up Gavin Jones's last comment? I do think Cade's going to have a monster game. He says Cade is fixing to have a 420-yard, 4-touchdown, 1 interception type game. I sure hope it's not 420, but I
wait. He said interception?
1 interception. Yeah. It's ballsy. That's the most ballsy part of that whole comment, dude.
Erase the interception. That's probably accurate. Yeah.
But I think it could be similar, because I do see Tennessee gashing them up a little bit. That's the biggest letdown of the whole season was the Clemson defense, to be honest with you. But it's going to be a fun one. I hate to say it. I really think it could be similar to the Purdue game last year.
You think so?
Yeah.
They don't have Aiden McCollum, man.
What's up with these? What's up with these white dudes from Purdue cooking us for their one and only game?
I don't know, man.
Is Josh Klein going to be playing in this game?
Probably. He'll be there.
Ryan Klein, thank you.
Ryan Klein, whatever. Josh Ryan.
Who's
he's selling insurance.
Josh Ryan is some white people name. We're fine.
Yeah.
Josh Klein is a former guard for the Titans.
Sold his
That's
soul
right.
to Dabo.
He
One of
would
the best shooter in the
drop
world one
40
night.
on us too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see because.
Torturing.
But
Well-
I do think just real quick, predicting the Craig's comment here, predicting bowl games with the age of the transfer portal is a complete crapshoot.
Yeah, that's true.
It is.
Yeah, it's seriously.
That's 100% accurate right there.
What were you gonna say, Randy?
Here is something you'd take away from that game. Do you think Joe Milton is playing for the starting job next year? Is he putting on a performance to show why he should be the starter next year?
Yeah. That's
I mean,
probably pretty obvious.
It's the interview of all interviews, which makes me very intrigued. Like Chase said, I think it will be the best of the weekend, but it'll be just I think for the sake of competition. But Milton, I don't know if he can overcome the issues where he's overthrowing or underthrowing balls. Obviously, Bazooka Joe can put it up there, but hopefully he can show his accuracy. But I'm intrigued to see if Nico is. Do you think it's going to be a camp? Both guys are having opportunities, or Nico's the guy, or Joe Milton is the guy.
Oh, there's going to be it's going to be competition, right? There ain't no doubt about it. Well, I got a question for you, Trey, real quick, and everybody else who wants to jump in. I know it was Vandy, but after that South Carolina performance on defense, they looked dominant on defense against Vandy, and Vandy's no slouch. Okay, I know people say Vandy's going to Vandy, but Vandy was decent this season, and they put up points on people, and we blanked them. And we looked aggressive. We were flying all over the field. Do you think we can get that same defense against Clemson, or are we going to go back to the same original, just same defense?
Same old, same old.
Same old.
Really?
Same old. I agree.
I
agree.
Well,
They
no.
can't-
Here's the thing with Vandy though. It's like they can't throw. They couldn't throw it. They can't throw it in great weather, but it was pouring down rain. So, and the worst part about your game is the secondary. So
We threw it.
yeah, but
We
We
were
throw it
11 for 21. We put him 362 on the ground.
yeah, we had about what like 5 50-yard touchdown runs. It
Yeah.
seemed like it.
280 plus yards.
How the hell
Crazy,
did they?
dude.
How the hell did they beat Florida? I mean, you'd have to be half drunk to lose that game. I
And
don't-
Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky's that. Yeah, Kentucky
Yeah.
plays tight with every MAC team they play.
Kentucky's better than Florida.
Well, let's wrap it up with college football here. Any other thoughts as far as league wide and college football conversations? Anything you want to touch on?
The University of Missouri is a bunch of dumbasses. They had the perfect bowl game lined up with Kansas, their old-time rival. Everyone wants to see this game. Kansas is back in the bowl game for the first time since the millennium, and it would have been the matchup of that was a huge Big 12 rivalry, and they didn't want to play that game because it interfered with a basketball game.
Get out of here.
It's just it's so hard to make a bowl game matter a lot. And this one was finally going to really matter, and you just blow it.
Yeah.
Been huge for everyone involved.
Speaking of huge for everyone involved, Deion Sanders is going to Colorado, boys.
You gotta say it.
Took a terrible job, but if there's anybody that can somehow do it,
See, that's the thing, though. If you remember, how old are you, Chase?
31.
And Trey?
73. I'm 34.
Okay, so you're my age. You remember in the 90s when Colorado was damn good.
Yeah.
Like, they were good. That's
Oh,
still
yeah.
a good place to go. I mean, if you're
We've
a
been back
player,
for 20 years.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's a known school for being,
Yeah.
they can be good.
Yeah.
And if you're a player, why wouldn't you want to go there? That stadium's cool, and the backdrop is just pure mountains everywhere.
Mhm.
Like that's a cool place to go play, man. And
See, go ahead, Austin.
I think Dion does a lot more for Colorado though than Colorado does for Dion. Like this
Yeah,
is just a
100%.
stage for him. Man, I do not know how you're Georgia Tech and you didn't hire Dion, because I know he would have gone there. And if you had him in Atlanta, could you imagine what he'd do in recruiting? I mean, that would have been a monster. But it didn't happen. So
2 hours from
I'm happy for it, honestly, because I mean, well, no, I'm not. I would like for him to shake up Georgia's recruiting and shake up everyone's, but we recruit a lot in Georgia too, so hard to
I
say.
mean, I get Dion saying that it'd be cool if he's in Atlanta, but he's going to take people that he's going to take players that he wants.
See, that's
Yeah,
the thing
so-
too. I don't think people understand. I think that he's still kind of in cahoots with Barstool, and they're obviously helping. I don't know if it's NIL deals or whatever it is to help get some monies there. But I think wherever he's going to go, he knows football well enough. I think he's gonna be in and out of there and have success. I think that conference, though, I mean, the way they're Pac-12 now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happens. Do we know what happens to them in a couple of years? They're going to stay in the Pac, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
so.
diminishing. Yeah,
They'll
Yeah.
be the best group of 5 conference, I guess. I don't know.
There you go.
What
Well,
they're
I'll
gonna
say,
be.
I'll
They'll
say
be
this:
Oregon and some friends.
Dion's the best marketer in all of probably college football now. I mean, Saban made his brand and all that. You want to say Dabo, but as far as just a pure on coach, he's the best marketer. And as you mentioned, Rainey, everybody, I've never been out there, but everybody says it's the best state campus in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, they were good, man. They're not in a terrible area. You can figure it out. And if there's anybody that can sell, like, dude, come play here. You're going to come up here and it's going to be an awesome campus. From what I heard, let's be honest, there's a bunch of 18 to 21-year-old dudes. There's a bunch of honeys up there. So they're going to be real happy.
I went skiing real quick, then we can get to the Tide Stray because I'm down to get to that as well. But when I went skiing in Colorado, I had a chance to somehow walk into that stadium. There was a gate open, walked in it. That place is cool as crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that place is legit cool because, like I said, the backdrop, everything, the women, hot.
I mean, what are they going to do with recreational marijuana in Colorado?
Smoke it.
If you're enrolled in Colorado,
That's why Dion went out there, dude.
Who is going to be on a bigger stage in, let's say, next 2 years? Dion at Colorado or Hugh Freeze at Auburn?
Hugh Freeze at Auburn.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
That's a good one.
I do.
That's a really good one. I'll say this: Dion's going to get guys like, I mean, he's going to play the celebrity aspect. That's a good point on the Barstool part. Like Brendan Schaub was a tight end in Colorado. Like, you're going to have comedians coming. Like, he's going to do it all. He's going to use everything he's got.
Yeah, Raiders win, baby.
Do we think all that though makes for a great football team though, or is it create for a bunch of distractions, a bunch of just
it
bullshit
creates some
like look at A&M?
But I think he's a good football coach. I really do. I mean, like, you can't go from a god awful team like Jackson State was. I think he's a good football coach. I think Dion is the kind of guy, like, he had his early on kind of like, I don't want to say he wasn't, he was just a young kid, like just all personality. He turned that personality. He used that. He learned football. He did all the right things. I think he's a good football coach. I think he's going to get a good staff. And I know somebody threw in the comments, Steven Snyder said they don't have the money to pay him yet, but they're going to get there. They're going to get there, and that's because Dion's got it. I believe Dion's at least going to make an impact. I don't know if they're going to be an 11-win team in 2 years, but you get Colorado, you get some hype going around. He's going to flip some players. He'll do some cool stuff.
You got to think. I mean, he could pick the transfer portal apart, probably.
Yeah.
Know guys whatever they want to hear. And here's the cool thing I noticed about his whole announcement. He showed through his own Instagram him talking to his team, saying, "Look, we're going to finish what we started here, and then when we're done, we're going to move on, and we're going to go out west." And it's like, who else is doing that? I think he is a new era type of coach where he can connect through social media. He can connect with people who are, it's a Vrabel type of thing too, just to kind of take us into the Titans here in a little bit. But he has the ability to say, I've played at this level and I know what it takes to go at a high level. And that's why you have guys going to Jackson State who are number 1 cornerbacks. Colorado is not that much of a long shot to say, well, they went to Jackson State. This is Colorado. And it's just like Tennessee was 3 years ago. We were a dysfunctional dumpster fire back here. And now we're getting back on track in a great way. What were we saying, Austin?
I will say this: if he wins 10 games within his first 2 years there, he is gone. He is going to Florida State. He's going to A&M. He's going to somewhere in the Southeast. That is his destination. He doesn't like. To be fair, Colorado, it's a Power 5 job, and you can build something out there, sure, but where it happens in the sport of college football. it's in the South. And to be honest, Deion seems like the kind of guy that would want the attention that comes with these SEC football jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Florida State's kind of rolling, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's Florida. I don't think it's the Florida State job. That if there was one team to be like the high seed or the low seed, whatever, however you want to say that, they snuck in the playoffs, they could possibly win it. That'd be my only team. Like, if you're going to take like a long shot odds, that would be my only team.
I'm calling it now. He's going to be at Texas. I'm calling it right now.
I'll put mine on the books too.
Alabama.
University of Alabama.
I would shoot myself in the
4
face.
years probably.
Would Oklahoma make that move? I don't know anything about Oklahoma, and not many people do because they've been pretty They've been pretty consistent. But Venables, man, it's year one.
So,
but he had more talent than everyone he's playing. So
I'll speak on this real quick on the Oklahoma part. My two of my best friends who I spent the whole weekend with, they are huge Oklahoma fans. They're very knowledgeable football guys, and they love that program. Venables has the right things going. It's just a lot. I mean, you're talking like 47% of their guys left. Mm-hmm. And also their defensive line that was really good, their linebacking crew, all left, all gone. So it was a lot. But they do like Venables there. They think that he can do some good things. You got a number one quarterback coming in next year, or top 3 quarterback coming in next year. Like they're gonna be okay. They like him there. They're gonna give him time.
Sure.
Yeah.
What if
Deion goes 10 wins in 3 years? Yeah.
What if he goes? I just don't know if Oklahoma can handle losing that much because they've never done it. I've never seen it in my lifetime.
I can't wait to see all those people out there in Norman just losing their absolute shit. But let's move on. We're moving on in our show, but or getting into the latter half of our show. But dude, yeah, right behind Rainey's head, there's a beautiful 2-tone blue flag that I want to burn it down after this weekend. I think that we all knew it was coming. I'm gonna have a little rant here, if you don't mind, and I think John Robinson's the culprit. I think of all the issues that we could talk about and debate, because I think here's the thing. Here's my honest question, and I put it up on Twitter today, talking about former first and second round picks that John Robinson's had. I think some people have retweeted and shared that cumulatively I gave for the first 2 picks of each class from 16. I think the GPA that we were running with, if we're grading these picks, was a 1.91 GPA, which I don't know about you guys, but I have that doesn't look good. But you got guys like Conklin, obviously old Kevin Dodd, Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Rashawn Evans. Other guys that have been failures, Isaiah Wilson. I think Caleb Farley and Dylan Radins are both failures at this point in time.
Dylan Radins is
horrible.
Trash.
It's horrible. But all that to say, I think you take a other side of the field look as far as offseason moves with free agency. Remember old Vic Beasley? Remember that guy? I feel like we forget about him because he gets buried on top of all the other trash free agent moves that they've done. And it exposes itself in so many different ways. And this weekend for me against the Eagles, they had their way. They did whatever they wanted to do. And the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, is watching A.J. Brown put his nuts on the table, as some people say, and do whatever he wanted to do. And great point from Gavin. Cameron Wake.
I forgot about that. Damn, Gavin, good call.
He played good though.
But that's what I'm saying. But what he was expected to be and come into the Titans after his stint in Miami, they were expecting a lot more. But the thing was, they gave him money.
He got injured, but when he played, and I'm not taking up for him at all, but when he played, man, he was good.
We got sold on his damn biceps coming out of the freaking jersey. That's all that was.
No, his first game, I think he forced 2 fumbles or something like that.
Yeah.
I just think I think of Toy Story, where all these old toys that we've had to collect in the corner. Oh, Kevin Dodd. Oh, here's old freaking Vic Beasley and Julio. But to think right now of all the money they have tied up in these guys that they've burned up. Where now, even if they wanted to, where Vrabel today is saying we don't have an option at left tackle in free agency or other practice squads. And 30 minutes later, the Miami Dolphins go out there and sign Eric Fisher. Make it make sense, please, somebody, because I'm over it.
You're talking about Toy Story. Listen, We should be in Toy Store number 1 where everything's happy. We're in the burning house scene of Toy Store where a lot of toys are dying.
Yes.
Okay. That's the scene that we're in right now, the Titans. And I'm gonna yes, spoiler alert, it's coming. I'm going to just point out 2 people right now. Actually, 3 people. Okay. First off, John Robinson is the tunnel to this problem. He has gatewayed this together, and he is. You got to hold him accountable. You got to hold him accountable. And then I'm going to go Mike Vrabel. He's a great coach. I think he's an excellent coach. But dude, it is your problem. Todd Downing is your problem, and you're doing nothing about it. You're acting like nothing is happening. Nothing. This is 2 years of this BS. This is atrocious. This offense has scored 26 points in the last 2 games combined. They're number 31 or 32 in the NFL in total scoring. They're pathetic. They can't do anything because Todd Downing is such, I'm just going to say it, he's an idiot. Like, he's not. How are you coaching? I could go out there and call plays and have the same result. And I know nothing about football. Nothing. I can go out there and hand it off to Derrick Henry 400 times a game and still have the same result. The same damn result. The same damn result. Shut up. Stay in your little corner up there. Hey, Trey, mute him. No, it's just, I'm so sick of Todd Downing. I'm so sick of this 1990s offense. This shit doesn't work. It doesn't work. And we're just good enough. The Titans are good enough to where they're going to pick in the middle of the draft and never get a good pick. Ryan Tannehill, get out. I'm so sick of watching you every single week. I know your offensive line is crap. It's the same thing even when you had an offensive line. I'm done with it. Taylor Lewan, you're the big problem too. Me and Trey got into this. We can discuss this right now, Trey, if you want to. We got into this earlier today. Taylor Lewan, you're like, oh man, everyone's disrespecting him. No, we're not. You can't stay healthy. That's a big problem. That's a big problem.
There's a lot of people talking a lot of shit about the guy from years ago, where this big boy, and here's the thing: the first 3-4 years of his career were in some of the shittiest parts of the recent history of the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. And finally, did we waste? And it's the same thing as Derrick Henry right now. Are we wasting the good years on these shitty moves? Because as much as you could go after Todd Downing, all the issues go right back. I mean, who is he supposed to throw the ball to right now? Who's he supposed to have run the ball when no one can block up front? Like that's my only voucher, my only out for Todd Downing.
We're sitting here with Dennis Daly as our left tackle because Taylor Lewan can't stay healthy. Dennis the damn menace. That's what he is. He's a freaking menace. He sucks. When you're supposed to be blocking forwards and you turn around and run the other way like a weirdo. Like, I don't know what you're doing in that play, but
how much does this fall on the training staff though, and just the coaches we've hired? I mean, because we can't stay healthy. We're the most injured team. Like we wear it like a badge of honor. Oh, we went 9-4 with 50,000 injuries. Well, why'd you have 50,000 injuries?
Well,
you should need a bunch of free agents.
Lewan on a chair at the house is just as good as Daly, and that's the gospel truth. And here's my only point about bringing Lewan up on Twitter.
But he's not here.
I get it, but it's a thing about respect because for so long he locked down the left-hand side of when he played. And the thing is,
when he played,
he had 2 ACLs. I know he's had other injuries, and I'm not going to argue that he's been injured. It's the fact that when he was there, it wasn't a question. Maybe it was mediocre at times, or the Chandler Jones game when he got his teeth kicked in. But all that to say, I mean, I would give so much to have a 60% Lewan over the garbage, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like we watch this stuff, and this dude is on skates, and he's getting pushed over by guys, and it's like, what are you even doing out there? And there's nobody else out there.
Dennis Daly is on skates right now because Taylor Lewan does the same thing year in and year out. It is instant. I mean, the beginning of the season, you're done. Like he's got to go. He's got to go. Like
no
get
agreement.
out. Get out.
We talked about it last week where, I mean, there's the potential that they could try to lower the number of Ryan Tannehill's contract by extending him. I think that's
get him out too.
We could do, yeah. I think
what are you gonna get though?
That's the thing. There's a ton.
We need to rebuild.
Mentor backup quarterbacks that you could have come in. But Chase, give me your thoughts on this stuff. I know we're
no, I was letting you boys go. The main thing about all this the main thing about all this is, Randy, you said it earlier. We're just good enough to stay in the middle. And this conference being so shitty is a detriment to the Titans.
Yeah.
Because who's the best win who's the best win the Titans have right now?
The Commanders.
The Commanders. That's awful, boys.
Oh,
and we
jeez.
play our two best teams that we've played. We got trounced.
Drilled.
It is so far and away. Like somehow this Titans team is going to make a top 4 seed, and the difference between any sort of Super Bowl contender and the Titans, like yes, you played the Kansas City Chiefs close-ish, but you got one good game. Like sometimes Vrabel can just scheme up stuff, but against really talented teams, doesn't fare well right now. And it just shows. Like you had your one good game against Kansas City, you still lost, but you go to play the Eagles, who were probably the most overall talented roster, and then you play the Bills, and it's, I mean, how many points we scored against them total? 27, and they beat us probably about almost put up 100 points on us. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's worse because we're just going to be drafted in the middle somewhere for some meh offensive lineman that can be third guy left to draft.
If you watch, I don't know if y'all keep up with the Predators at all. You probably don't. It's hockey. They're the same team. They're the same team. You're always drafting in the middle. You're not getting any better except through free agency or trades or something like that. You're not getting any better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just I'm so burnt out on the whole Tannehill thing. Who's the best quarterback we had? Dude, no, he's not. Stop saying that. He's not the best quarterback we ever had. Like, that's the stupidest statement you've ever said in your entire existence of living. He's
Jake
not.
Locker.
Yes. Rusty Smith. He's just every play. And this is a lot on Todd Downing as well. It's a 2-yard pass. 2-yard pass. 2-yard pass. Do we not have a running back that can go and sit in the dump off zone and just dump it off to him? We would gain more yards the whole game during that way. Todd Downing, I almost wish he would have got a DUI and got arrested and put in jail for like 90 days because it would have been so much better for this team. Or hand him a bottle of Jack and let him coach on the sidelines. It'd probably be great.
Get that boy loosened up.
Well, I mean, he did call he called it pretty well against the Packers, which
because he was drunk.
Maybe he's like Peter Griffin. He gets better at piano whenever he gets drunk.
Yes, exactly.
I will say this though, man, and I've said this. Don't sleep on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know.
Don't even go there.
I'm not even trying to toot my own horn or anything. I know they got their ass kicked.
Oh my God.
Right?
Hey, Trey,
I'm about to hit you with a stat, Trey. You ready?
I know. God bless. Here we go.
After you hit him with a stat, I'm gonna hit him with something else. Go ahead.
They have not won back-to-back games except for one time in their last 45 games. That's an absolute roller coaster. You must be like a mediocre golfer, Trey. You just get sucked in on every good shot you make.
And go ahead, hit me with it, Randy.
Oh, hey, turn around real quick. What do you see back there?
A big old sectional.
I see a massive door. They should just go ahead and walk out after that comment. Just leave this podcast and walk straight out that door. Just bye-bye.
Here is why. Because I think the Titans are in shambles right now offensively. And I think Trevor, I watched him yesterday just get rolled over a couple different times. I thought he snapped his leg or something the way it looked. But I think the Titans are just mentally, I think they're at a point, and I think Vrabel said it, they're at a crossroads for a lot of people. I think that this, A.J. Brown just disrespected this team single-handedly. And I think everybody that's a Titans fan knows it. They were fools to have traded him. But the thing is, again, John Robinson spent all the cash and he can't even keep the guys. I'll beat that drum because I think at the end of the day, I think we're going to see more of the same shit. Something has to happen with scouting to get better because it's bad. It's bad when you're known for hitting mid to late round picks and saying, yeah, or getting guys that were injured in the pre-draft process and they fall down.
Well, it goes what Austin said. Something's got to be happening with our strength and conditioning because this happens every single year where you're so fragile and beaten up and just you don't have any bodies left because we're all injured. How does this always happen? It's every season.
Mm-hmm.
Every season.
It's conditioning. It's maybe style play. Maybe. I mean, we do draft a lot of guys though with injury history, and just like you don't do that.
I
It's
think
kind of like Butch Jones. Butch Jones recruited a lot of guys that had injuries and like, oh, I got this 5-star. Well, he didn't play his whole senior year, and he's not going to play for you in his junior year.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you guys think Jeffrey Simmons was kind of like the worst thing? I mean, he's the best thing, but the worst thing to happen for J. Rob because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I nailed it on a guy that got injured. Nailed
Yeah.
it.
Now we're gonna
Listen to
draft-
Caleb Farley.
Yeah.
with a broken freaking back.
Yeah.
He's like,
God, dude,
it's like he's in a
stupid
casino
stuff
trying
like
to
that.
just keep hitting the roulette table. It
Caleb-
worked at one time.
Yeah. Caleb Farley's missing his C 1 through 12, and we're gonna draft him.
And Amy Adams Strunk has to get him away from that damn table and say, "Hey, come back to reality." That's I don't know what holding him accountable looks like. I say the same thing. I don't know what it means because it's like either you fire the guy or what you can't demote the guy. He's the executive vice president and the general manager. But I don't know, man. It's extremely disappointing because the Super Bowl window is there. Tannehill and Downing, like we keep talking about the same thing where time is a flat circle and they feel like you're going mad.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't anticipate them to make significant changes unless we're going down this path of losing some of these last games. And I don't think we're going to lose the division or anything like that, but I think that we are guaranteed. Does anybody want to make a bet that we are going out first or second round? We won't go past the divisional round.
We won't even make it past. But we won't even make it past halftime with the first.
Whoa,
round.
we got a gambler here.
Watch out!
All these
We're
numbers
going to get our ass kicked, man. That's going to be a bloodbath.
It's the only way. Well, hell, I think about it now. I think the last time I looked at it, we were slated against like Miami, maybe.
We'll still get beat by them.
We're gonna get smoked.
You
By
can maybe.
This is what you need to do. And again, I'm no coach, but if I was, I would go full West Coast and just throw short outs real quick and just run the ball short outs. Spread it out. Spread it out. Get the ball out of Tannehill's hands as fast as you can and just get it out to the sides. Not in the middle, 2 yards in the middle where every linebacker and every defensive end is just waiting for you. Spread them out. Spread them out. Because this offense is garbage. It's terrible to look at. It's terrible to watch.
I've never seen a worse offensive line. I mean, I've seen very few offensive lines that are this bad. They give you no chance to run any kind of offense. It feels like it's so impossible to watch. I'll never get that. I think the most frustrating it was even against the Chiefs, the whole second half with Malik Willis. There's nothing at all you can do. It's sad. It looks like Jeremy Pruitt against Arkansas that one year.
It's what Josh Heupel. It's what Josh Heupel did last season when he had the horrible offensive line. Dude, the ball was out like this. I mean, out.
Yeah, but that's where we're hamstrung by I mean, I think we knew what Todd Downing was whenever he was the head, or what was he, the interim head coach and for the Raiders for a bit.
He was an offensive coordinator for the Raiders and the interim head coach, and he sucks. God,
yeah. But, I mean, I the loyalty thing, Vrabel, I don't know the connection there.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's weird.
They
Is
missed
it like
the opportunity to fire him whenever he got the DUI, and I know that's I know Mike Herndon and other people have said like, hey, we gotta apply the same outcome if Vrabel were to do the same thing. But hell, I'm serious at the point where I think the rest of this season, I'm not trying to be like a Negavol or like a Negatitan or anything like that. It's just the fact that I think this team they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to get their teeth kicked in. And it's I know Gavin's putting some money up right here saying $500 right now, first round exit.
Yeah.
It's sad to me because like Chase said, if any other team in the South was competitive right now, we would be praying for a wild card spot like we should.
And I'm not taking a shot at you, Trey. But the whole Negavol, Negatitan, you're not being negative. You're telling the truth. Telling the truth is not being negative. I've watched that game. That happened. I'm telling you what happened. That's not being negative.
Yeah.
That is telling you the truth. That just happened.
Mm-hmm.
You're being so negative. No. Did you watch the same thing I did? Because it's not being negative. You're being realistic. That's how it is. People don't want to hear the truth. They hate the truth. And it's the truth.
I'll tell you what I think that the Titans need to do. I don't know if you can get a 4th or 5th round pick for Derrick Henry because his contract is up there. I think we've talked about, cutting guys like Zach Cunningham and even considering Bud Dupree. I think you have to lean into a full reset at some point and keep what you can, because it sucks because you think about it continuing down. We've had our great run in our window, but at this point in time, if any team in the South gets competitive, we are not what we are. But guys like Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard and some of these younger guys, maybe in a couple years, maybe a year or two, they can have the experience and they can push for a Super Bowl again. I just think it's about to happen, whether we want it to or not, because money matters, injuries, it just doesn't make sense. And then you have the whole coaching side of it. It's like Todd Downing has to be gone. But even Craig Ackerman, the special teams coach, I mean, they are ass. Like Stonehouse is the only reason that he has a job right now.
Yeah, the punting thing was, oh God. He just boots as far as he possibly can every time.
When is that new stadium? When are we supposed to have a new stadium? What,
2026?
2026.
Yeah, they need a great team to play in that by that point. You need a team people are really excited to actually see.
And here's the thing,
That's a good
Trey.
point. Yeah.
Trey, you just said trade Derrick Henry away. I was on a podcast last year, said we need to trade him last year.
Yeah.
And people thought I was batshit crazy. No. You trade him and you got to rebuild this thing. Like, you're not going anywhere. It's the same result every single season. You've got to get a good quarterback. You saw how fast Cincinnati rebuilt with a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see all these quarterbacks. The teams are good. Like you cannot. I would just trade him straight up for like the number one. Like, you could probably trade Derrick Henry to a crappy team and get a really high pick to get a quarterback, and that's what you need, man. Joe Burrow got destroyed his first season. That's the growing pains. Look at him now.
I don't think anyone's going to give a high pick for Henry. That's just
Last year they would have.
Yeah,
Sure,
from
last year
year's
they
context,
would've.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where I don't think Titans fans can conceive beyond the idea of Henry, because before that, it's like it was so dark in that, like in that place where we're talking about guys like who's the Washington Jake Locker. I mean, it's like going back to that shit, but it's like now. Is Malik Willis a bust in everyone's opinion now, or is he still a project in the making?
He's got a long ways to go. I don't know if he's it.
I don't like him as a pro. I don't like him as
I don't think he's a bust, though.
I just
he's not a bust yet.
I don't see him as an NFL starter. It just doesn't look like it with my own two eyes. The way he throws the ball, it just is awareness. He's got speed. That's on his side.
He
just doesn't seem like he can lead an offense that well.
I disagree because
in the pros.
I disagree because I saw flashes, okay? And we are in such an right now moment society. It's got to happen right now or it's not happening. I mean, look at Geno Smith. He's in the MVP discussion. And everyone's like, he's the biggest bust ever. No, he rose up and became a great quarterback. Like, we're such an in the moment right now society. It's got to be good right now or it's not going to be good at all. No, I mean, I see some things with Malik, dude. I don't know. If he can fix some things, I think he can be pretty freaking good, because he got our first down of the whole second half.
True.
I mean, come on.
But doesn't this feel like with Henry, though? To me, it's like when you hit a 3-leg parlay, and you got your fourth one sitting there, and they give you a cash out option like $75. Your team that you have on the fourth, you probably know is going to lose, but they go up 7-0. You're like, dude, I got $75 on a $5 bet or $10 bet.
Yeah.
I should just cash out. And then you don't do it.
And you let it ride.
And then next year is going to be, at least they're giving me like a $17 cash out. I'll take a fourth and a sixth. I mean, because Christian McCaffrey not going for firsts hurts the market. And I don't think Derek, like Drew said, I think you're not getting first for him.
Well,
unfortunately,
they all warned us when we re-signed him, and I hate to say they were kind of right, but I mean,
yeah,
you can't really build a team around a running back. It just doesn't work like that anymore.
Good Lord, that was something that I said, unless it's a team-friendly deal years ago, which it was a team-friendly deal.
Yeah,
I think Henry has been great. I think they imagine if they had taken Henry and at least kind of made a hybrid, utilize the play action, but I don't know, man. It seemed like they just tried to get out of the Mariota era, get Tannehill. Nobody anticipated Tannehill being what he was, and they went with it. They were winging it the whole time. But Gavin, I don't understand in what universe that we're going to get a second, a couple thirds, and a fifth for these three guys that legitimately Tannehill is probably the only guy. Asterisk with his contract too. It's like people aren't going to shell out a bunch of picks for these guys and then pay them a ton as well.
Gavin, no one's going to pick up Lewan.
He's
done.
He is going to retire. I mean, I'm willing to bet that. But what's
I'll
sad
say-
to me,
I think Rainey hates Taylor Lewan more than anything he's ever hated. Like I've never heard.
It
him
does
go
feel
on and on
it,
about
it
one
definitely
thing.
has that vibe. to it right
Taylor
now.
Lewan and Rick Barnes. Those two things. Like
Oh,
I
I
don't
can't wait
hate
for it. I
anybody.
can't wait to come for you during basketball season, Randy.
I will when we get knocked out.
Oh
around
my
32.
god!
I'll come right for you.
I had to sit
no.
with him in Indianapolis. I'm a Rick Barnes defender. I had to sit with him in Indianapolis as we blew that game to Michigan. That was miserable.
And the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Yeah, I agree too.
Hey, we beat Iowa that one time.
Yeah, I mean, got killed
In
by
overtime.
Purdue. Hey,
Oh, that's just terrible.
Lewan, it's the truth. Yeah, I hate the truth.
It's March.
Rick Barnes is a good coach until March.
What's supposed to do? I mean, the guy traded his soul for the shooting ability of God.
But Lewan is on my hate list because he's never there for the team because he's always injured. That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
You're not reliable. The best ability is availability, and you're never available. Never available. Sorry. Like you don't go to any job and like, well, he's not here today. Well, he won't be here for the next 5 years. But we're still going to pay him a lot of money. No, sorry, that doesn't work for me.
but that's the thing.
How much was he injured last year?
Oh, he played.
Like half, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's pretty early on. But
3-4 games and then first game this season.
Did he finish the season?
No, I don't think so.
He hasn't finished the season
okay,
since Caveman
okay.
walked, dude. Like,
Well, here's my thing. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole of the hypotheticals. Gavin's calling me crazy if I don't think the Buffalo Bills would give up for a second and a sixth for Henry. That's laughable to me. But here's what I want to do. I know we've gone back and forth with this topic throughout the year. We've done a little fan or fraud. In case you're watching or listening, we're going to pick a team from the NFL and say, are we fans of them or do we consider them frauds? Because a couple different teams we've talked about, and I want to bring up the Minnesota Vikings. Chase, I know that you have been. We've been kind of up and down on the Vikings throughout the year, I feel like. But obviously sitting at 10-2, Eagles getting a big win. What do you think about the Minnesota Vikings? Are you a fan of them or are they frauds?
Duh. They're
That's
so
tough,
dude.
man.
They're so tough
they're
because
so hard.
I
dude.
watch them because you could call that Cowboys loss. You're like, dude, coming off that huge win, then you just saw it coming. But you got to go fan in some way.
Yeah.
You
I
got to
like
go fan in this situation.
Listen, it is the NFL. And here's what I've learned. And you mentioned earlier about betting, Trey. No, that was you, Chase. You don't ever bet on NFL games because you have no clue who's ever going to win.
I have quit betting on Sundays.
You do not bet NFL teams because you'll lose every time. If I was to bet the Vikings on Sunday, they would lose. But they just continue to win. And in the NFL, it's what Bill Parcells. Well, I think it was Bill Parcells. Your record is what you say you are. That's who they are. They're winners. They're winners.
So we're
And
9-4.
I'm a fan.
7-4.
I'm a fan.
So you think we're a real 7-4 team?
No.
For our record, for who we played, for our schedule, yeah.
Yes, we are.
That's the weird thing. It's all about who you play.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I'll say this about the Vikings. I know Jamar Chase's, not Jamar, but Justin Jefferson's catch the other week was insane. I think that gets
Holy
them a lot of
crap.
hype. I think the chains and the plane videos and stuff is all fun. I don't know if I believe the hype though. I don't. I'm gonna I'll just say that for the record though. I do want to throw this out there because obviously Lamar Jackson gets hurt. I feel like the Ravens are similar to the Titans in the sense that they're that team that could be there, that could squeeze in because the division or whatnot. Obviously, Burrow is going to take that team with the Bengals to the division and get the division. But now that Lamar's hurt, are they basically done? Are the Ravens gone? Because I would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
Huntley's
are.
Huntley's good. I think they'll win some games, but
I just
that was a big win by the Bengals, man. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
that makes a tough road for them.
that's tough, man. I just they don't have wide receivers in Baltimore. They have Andrews, and that's it. And likely maybe. I just no. I don't believe in them or the Titans. So there's my answer.
Well, I think they're gonna. Well, I don't know. They said Lamar's week to week. I don't know if you can ever count them out whenever Lamar's playing, even though he's begging for $251 million or whatnot. But a couple weeks or what? 4 weeks left. Is that right? 5 weeks in the season. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Freaking December. I'm gonna consider them frauds for now until Lamar can come back and show me they're legitimate. Last team I want to get to. Maybe you guys can throw some out if we want to keep going here. But the freaking Detroit Lions.
Dude,
Getting shit on by anybody and everybody they can. But what I'm saying is Dan Campbell is the man, and I think he needs to be respected. I think his team came out and kicked the freaking doors in. Did y'all watch that whole game?
not the whole game, but I watched some of it.
I didn't watch the whole game. I was on Red Zone, but my goodness, I mean, I know it's Jacksonville. Not that I'm sitting here tooting the horn of why the Jags are great, but putting 40 points up on anybody in the league is a hard thing to do, in my opinion.
I think, listen, the Lions are going to make the playoffs. I'm calling it right now.
Oh my god.
They're like a game or two out.
Yeah, I'm looking it up here. I was just thinking, well, can they? Yeah,
They're like
probably can.
a game or two out. And listen, my fantasy team has St. Brown and their running back Williams on it.
Yeah.
I win every week because of those two guys. Offense goes a long way in the NFL.
Mhm.
A long way. The Lions will make the playoffs.
They're 2 games out.
They'll make it. I'm telling
And
you.
here's their last 5 games. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Next week at home versus the Vikings. At the Jets. At the Panthers. At home versus the Bears. And then at Green Bay.
Playoff bound, baby. Playoff bound. There's 4 wins right there, dude.
They're gonna they have to probably win 4.
They're gonna
Well,
win 4.
If they can get the Vikings, I'm going to see what the Vikings are coming off of this week. Because if they got them at home and they pulled off a good, the momentum's cooking. They just beat the Jets 27-22. The Vikings did, in case you forgot. But I don't know, man. This is the time of the year where teams start getting hot and they can sneak in and they can. I mean, the division. I know the Vikings are obviously 10-2. They're probably not going to be able to win unless something catastrophic happens with Minnesota. But a wild card, that's a team I would not want to line up against if I was an NFC team.
Okay, and then who they're chasing down? Y'all ready for this? This is the Giants. They're the 6th spot. This is a tough road. At home versus the Eagles next week. At Washington. At Minnesota. At home versus the Colts. And then at Philly. They could lose 4 of those games.
Don't think
There's
I
a
haven't
chance.
researched this.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy at work, we talk about the Lions all day long. We've researched this whole thing.
I
They're
want to see
making the
I want to
playoffs.
see if I can find their future odds. Y'all go ahead and chit chat. I'm going to find their future odds to see if they can make the playoffs.
Well, I'll say this while he's looking. I think the Commanders too. I mean, I know
They're
we're talking about the
good.
Titans. Yeah, the Titans have their win over them, and everyone's kind of shit. I don't think they're a pushover team. That defense is stout, and Chase Young's potentially coming back. Heineke's not, Tom Brady, but the guy gets it done where he's able
Dude.
to go out.
They're 7-5-1, right?
Yep. Yes, 7-5-1. They
They're
just
good.
tied.
They're a good team.
But they put three wins together over the Eagles. Obviously, the Texans and Falcons aren't anything. But after what we saw yesterday with the Eagles against the Titans, a 32-21 victory over the Eagles at Philly. I don't know, man. You gotta give them
Dude, the Commanders are good. You have Heineke throwing to McLaurin. All you got to do is throw it up to that guy, and he's going to catch it.
Mhm.
He's so good. He's so good.
Would you throw up $100 on plus 700 for the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs?
Oh, 100%. Just
$100.
put 10. Just put $10 down.
I'd parlay
You'll
it.
make, and you'll make 70.
I'd parlay it with something else, but maybe.
Okay, so in that theory, you'd basically have to say the Giants or the Lions to make the playoffs plus 700 and the Giants to not make the playoffs at even odds.
The Lions are feeling it, man. They're feeling it. I'm
So-
telling you. I would bet on them right now. They're feeling it. While the odds are high, bet on it.
All right.
Even if it's $10.
I
Just
might
bet
throw
on
a
it.
10 on there. I might throw a 10.
Throw it in. You'll win money. They're gonna make the playoffs. Bets by Rainey right here.
That's my rating.
Rainy. Well, cool. I think we got everything we want to get to, fellas, unless you guys have any other topics, because I know
Good,
Baker
brother.
Mayfield got released today, which I thought was kind of
Austin's phone died, so that's why he's out.
He
it's
gone.
all good. Good to have, obviously, channel. I want to throw their logo back up here because we have a big announcement in case you're still watching with us. But in case you're listening, we are partnering on with Channel and Chatton Sports. We're going to be obviously collaborating ongoingly, and it'll be a thing that we will obviously be planning some awesome events around the state. We'll see what we got in the works, but we want to involve viewers, people to come out, and be a part of these things. We're talking about trivia, talking about other events where we're able to meet up and travel to games and other things. But Rainey, wanted to give you the opportunity to share any thoughts from you guys as far as channel and what you guys want to do.
No, man, like I'm excited. We need, I came across y'all's podcast and listened to it and liked it and wanted to do some events with you guys. Hopefully some like bars and tailgates and stuff like that, upcoming events. Like I think it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we love to have fun on our podcast, and you guys are a lot of fun. So I want to collaborate that, like what you just said. But dude, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun, dude. I love just the engagement and argument and debate. Like it's fun. It's real fun.
Yeah, we're stoked, man. Any thoughts, Chase?
Yeah, man. I'm pretty pumped about it because it's one of those things like you want to make these relationships, and we talked about it. Like we just want to make this a good time. We got so many friends in this industry, and it's so much fun now, dude. Like there's always somebody to bring on, talk to, and even when it's us four, like we don't all have the same opinion, but we can all differ and just go back and forth. And that's the best damn part of this whole job or gig, whatever you want to call it. So looking forward to it.
There was just four dudes talking about sports tonight. Like,
dudes being bros. I will say this, in case you're on Twitter, make sure and follow us, follow Chatton Sports, because we will be putting out some Twitter spaces. We'll be reacting. I'm surprised that if it's not already happened, that some Twitter spaces are probably still lit up from the Hendon Hooker news, but we'll be utilizing that feature on Twitter in case you want to join us. You can chime in, you can talk with us, give us, reactions, share it with your friends, and get the conversation going there. But appreciate it. Appreciate everybody jumping in tonight and the comments and interaction. Again, had Austin on, Austin B, if you find him on Twitter. And then Rainey as well, and Channel TN.
If you can find us on Twitter, okay.
Yeah.
But obviously follow Chase and I as well. Follow Chatton Sports, and appreciate it, guys. We hope that you have a great night. I do want to make sure you guys know this. We'll make an official announcement of it. But Channel will be going live Monday night, and then Chatton Sports will be putting out a podcast. And again, we'll be doing other spaces and maybe other live shows, but going to commit to a Wednesday podcast release. So keep an eye out for that. Did I miss anything?
Perfect. I think that's it. Shout out to Gavin for being a Diamond member.
Diamond member, baby. He is.
Hell yeah.
We'll be emailing out the stickers and everything too. So appreciate it, guys. Let me run this video and hope you have a great rest of your week. And God, please help the Tennessee Titans. What's up, everybody? Welcome into